Says
Okay,
we're
so
live.
I'll do my thing. We're live? Okay.
I always say it says we're live, and I'm always a little nervous about whether or not that's true and to what
Right.
extent it's true. I
True.
take a super quick look at something here, but also I don't know if I mentioned this to you. I said I'm. Did you add any destinations? Or are you
Oh, I meant to. Look, I meant to talk about that offline. I was gonna say we could do that next week. I'm so sorry. I
okay?
don't know how to
Yeah,
do that because yeah, we
cool.
could test it next week. That's fine.
Okay, I
Yeah.
have for the first time. I'm doing Twitter. Now, nobody
What?
pays attention to me on Twitter, but and maybe I don't like Twitter very much either. But I'm like I said, I'm still holding a grudge against Facebook. So,
Yeah, I don't blame you.
uh,
I have a love-hate relationship with Facebook.
like we talked about last week.
Yep.
All right, so but we can get into this. I
Perfect.
have like double hatred for Facebook because I posted about this. I'm telling you today, nobody saw it. When I look at the little thing, it says view insights and says it was shown to 2 people. I tagged you. You probably never saw it. And so Facebook just has me on the shadow ban, or maybe it's flat out like everything but Facebook jail.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it's very inconsistent. I mean, even now, we're running ads on Facebook.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because Facebook allows you to, it lets you see the estimator. So when you
Yeah.
put in your daily budget, it'll show you, okay, this is how many, contacts you can expect to reach.
Sure.
Well, I did it at like 11 p.m. One night, and the estimator showed me, okay, because we're doing lead ads, right?
Okay.
So it said, okay, you can get up to like 50 plus leads per day, and I was like, okay, at that price point, not
Yeah.
bad. Like we can do that. But then, like literally the next morning, I checked it again because I had to make a small change, and it dropped to like 9 leads. So I'm like, how did we go from 50 plus to like 9? Like it's not worth it anymore. So I talked to a friend that runs ads all the time. And she told me that more times than not, Facebook is inaccurate when it gives you that estimate.
Okay.
Usually it's higher than that. I was like, but is it substantially higher? Right? Because that's a drastic drop. We went from
Right.
like, 50, or maybe I'm sorry, it wasn't 50. I apologize. I think it was more like 25, 30 leads a day. And then it dropped to 9. And so she was saying that it's usually not that far off. So I'm like, well, then it's still not worth it,
Like
So
12.
yeah. So yeah, that platform is just so incredibly it's just janky. That's the part that kind of irritates me about it. It's just really janky.
Yeah.
Um so anyway,
We're gonna see TikTok get banned in a little bit here.
oh gosh, I
Which
know.
doesn't hurt me because I was on TikTok for like a month and I decided it was too wild for me and I just hopped off.
I never understood it. And I hate to say this publicly, but I mean, I was in the TikTok, support Black business cohort last year, and
Uh,
I still don't get the platform. I mean, we met for 6 weeks straight to
wow.
talk about it, maybe 8, and I still don't get it. So yeah, and it's crazy enough. I actually have money, probably like $600 in the ad account that I have not used.
I
And
want
this
to
is
use it.
not credit. This is like money that I put up that I never used. Hey, Mike.
Mike Reynolds.
So I don't know, man.
Big
But
up
yeah,
to Brooklyn. You should run that today
I know you ain't
because
never
the
lied.
platform the platform may disappear at any moment. I mean,
Wow. Good old United States shutting it down, huh?
yeah,
Well,
pretty much.
I'll be honest, I'm not mad at it because China doesn't allow a lot of US based websites and things in their country. So, I mean, as much as I would hate for TikTok to be, I wouldn't miss it necessarily, but I mean, it's a cool platform if you understand it. I've seen tons of great, funny or informative videos on the platform.
Yeah,
So, but I've also seen that on Instagram and Facebook too, and YouTube. So,
yeah.
it's
Gotta,
just
just gotta be
another
flexible.
thing to get addicted to.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I know a few people who are really making good money from it, but for most of us.
Yeah.
Primarily distraction,
Yep.
even if there's some business education involved.
Yep.
You're just pulled into it. I hated it. We're not going to talk about my issues with it, but I hated it because when I open it up and then there's some girls dancing, I'm like, I don't want to be like somebody like, what is Donnie looking at over there? And I'm like, I didn't ask for this. I'm not subscribed to this.
Oh my God.
I don't know who that is. I didn't, and I just like, I can't have the app on my phone. It's too dangerous.
Oh man, that is hilarious.
Every
Oh
time.
my
I mean, maybe
God.
that's what's popular, but I'm like, that's not what I'm here for.
No, I feel you. That is hilarious though, because I've actually seen a skit on Instagram where a guy is like watching a woman, dance, and she's twerking, and he kind of made a remark like, like to say like, man, she looks good, and his wife, girlfriend, whatever, was standing right behind him, and so then the camera cut to showing her shadow in the phone behind him with this really angry look. And so after that, they played Whitney Houston, "I Will Always Love You," and like the dude was like dead. And so it was just so funny because that's true. Like, I mean, you could just be having it now. In his case, that wasn't a casual stroll, but you could just be casually on a platform and like you can be out here looking kind of shady because something weird is on your phone now. And you have to explain, like, oh,
I don't want to have to explain that. I don't want
I feel you.
No misunderstandings.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
So anyway, so I don't have, even when I had an account, and I just deleted my account. I just had I just uploaded from the computer, from the desktop, and that was it. So I didn't have to, because also like the first thing you get rid of doesn't take you back to the like a regular page. It's like 3 things. If you don't like that, maybe you like this, maybe you like this.
That's so true.
Nope, I don't like none of it.
No, I feel you on that. It's a lot. It's too much. All these platforms, to be honest, it's a bit overwhelming just in general. Mike said it's a distraction for me. It was like a virtual Magic City. Yeah, it's too much, man. I just think all of these platforms, and by the way, if I'm looking off y'all, it's because I'm sharing on my platforms that Donnie and I are live. So my apologies.
Blasting. I got, anyway, we can talk about email today though. We've spent some time talking about TikTok, talking about Magic City, and now we're going to talk about email. So
yes, let's talk about it.
As is always the case, I have some thoughts I want to get from you, but let me let you, if you have any thoughts that you want to bring up before I dive in with my sinister hand, like my bird hand.
I already see this action now. Oh boy,
this is gonna be a great conversation. I already know.
Of course, always. So just thoughts in general.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts? Anything you want to bring up? Like what have you what's hot on your mind?
Last week?
Yeah. If anything, it doesn't have to be anything.
Okay, this is a good one. So just to really drive home the point of how important email is right now, MailChimp brokered a really, really big deal, relationship, whatever you want to call it, with a company to help their clients or their customers optimize their email accounts. And so I'm saying this to say they would not dump in the resources that they have dumped in if there's no merit or no ROI, right? In this space. So I think that's just really important because MailChimp is one of the leading email marketing platforms out there, arguably the leading email marketing platform out there. And so, I think that's one thing I wanted to share. Another thing, I went live with another fellow, dear friend, colleague named Mevany, and she's like a Facebook ads expert. And she brought up a really great point. Shout out to Mevany. Mevany shared that as we go into 2024 and beyond, it's only going to get harder to like reach your target audience and to like get your customers or your, like I said, target audience, your avatars. And so now is the time where you start nurturing those relationships and you start using email marketing and doing all of that, because honestly, it will only get hard. And she's right. In 2024, Google will then eradicate the whole cookie thing, which makes it even harder for
Wow.
business owners to retarget and find their customer base. You know, we've been having the luxury of retargeting our list, but that's going to end. Well, I'm not going to say it's going to end. It's just going to look very different from what we're used to, because now the cookie is dying. And to be honest, they actually had said that it was going to be truncated, eradicated, whatever this year, but it's going to be next year. They made an announcement saying it's going to be 2024. And this time I think they're pretty serious. They're ready to do it. So, you know, all roads are leading to email, to be honest. Like even Amazon, for the first time, I don't even know if, you know, you're aware of this, Donnie, but for the first time, Amazon made an announcement saying that this year they would allow their vendors to email their customers. Now, I don't know when that rolled out or if it was rolled out, but that was a Bloomberg Business Week article. That Amazon made the announcement that in 2023, store owners would be able to email their customers. And I was like, whoa, that's huge. That's Amazon?
Huge. That's huge.
So again, I don't know what happened. I have not heard a thing. I even researched it recently trying to see like what's the status, because here's the thing, that's a customer base. You know, if you are a copywriter and you're trying to figure out, oh my gosh, where do I find clients? Let me tell you, like connecting with those Amazon store owners. Oh yeah. Like there's a pot of gold, like pots of gold.
First of all, I mean, an untapped opportunity. It's not even an option.
Right.
You got some tricky system in place, and most store owners are not super sophisticated.
Exactly.
In terms of acquisition of those additional communication or contact details.
Right.
Totally untapped. And I mean, if you've got a list of buyers, come on now.
Right.
It's money.
It's crazy. So it's a lot of opportunity out here. It's a lot of opportunity.
Okay. Interestingly, one of the questions I have on here is, what do you think are the biggest opportunities?
Oh,
I think this is a huge one.
I know, right? Yeah. So some of the biggest opportunities, shoot. Okay, again, like obviously, you know, that pot of gold with Amazon, but let's say that you're not a service provider. Let's say that you are a business owner, right? So you're not necessarily interested in becoming a copywriter or anything like that. So the biggest opportunities that exist for you as a business owner is the fact that, you know, these large corporations, as I've shared previously, they are cutting back substantially. They're laying off, you know, people in droves. Those marketing budgets are slimming down substantially. So, you know, when the economy is thriving and all of that, those of us who are small business owners, and I know small business owners, that's a broad term because it's, you know, based on the amount of revenue and staff and all that stuff. But those of us who don't have an enormous staff and aren't, you know, we don't have a bottomless marketing budget, we have to compete against those entities, right? I mean, these are like, you know, several $100 million, billion, trillion dollar entities that we're having to compete against. And when I say compete, meaning compete in terms of getting consumers' attention, right? That's what you're competing for. You need those eyeballs on your brand. You need their money going to your company. So normally we would have to compete against them, which I mean is you know, it can be tough because they have, again, a bottomless budget. They can do whatever they want to do. But now the competition is thinning out a little bit. We're not having to worry as much about, you know, competing against these companies with these bottomless budgets because they're scaling back. That means there's a gap. So consumers have been used to hearing from these big brands and seeing their, you know, their logos and things on these football games and all these other athletic sports events. But now you get to come in, right? You get to show up in the inbox and you get to do so in a way in which you're not having to fight as hard as you used to because those other brands are scaling back. So there's a lot of opportunity for you to really get your voice. I was going to say I was going to say get your brand seen, and I was going to say your voice. But anyway, to get your brand seen and known, And doing so by way of email is cost efficient, it's time efficient, doesn't take a whole bunch of your time. Like I'm running Facebook ads right now. Donnie and I talked about that early on in the conversation. And it took several hours plus another day and a half before Facebook even approved the ads. And then they actually approved all of them but 4. Anyway, so nevertheless, time, money, all of that, you can now reach your audience in a way that you never have before, because you don't have to compete against those companies with those steep pockets.
Yeah, that's good. That so it applies to everybody.
Yes.
Whatever space you're in, everyone is holding back. Everyone is playing scared.
Yep.
And trying to hold tight to what they have. But what happens when you hold tight to whatever, like maybe you're in your marketing budget. Let's scale back the marketing budget because I want to hold my dollars. As you lose grasp on market share and share of voice, like you said. So it's an opportunity for courageous people to step out and grab somebody else's market share at a decreased expense or investment, if you want to call it that. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. So those are the opportunities I would say exist. Whether you're a copywriter getting into this industry, or if you are a business owner and you're trying to figure out exactly like, how does this email marketing thing benefit you? Those are some examples of, why you need to go ahead and jump in now.
Yeah. I mean, I think the first part of our conversation is relevant here too, because if your business requires social media, particularly TikTok, now is a great time to push people to something less volatile, less likely to be destroyed by Congress. Your email, your email list. So I think if you're on TikTok, if you're on any of these platforms, now is a great time to begin. I don't have a list. Guess what? Today's a great day to start. And if you do have one, just be intentional about. You can still do social media, cool, but make sure you're pushing people to sign up for your email list as well, because nothing will happen to that as long as you don't do Alex Jones,
right?
Start doing some crazy stuff. You're going to be able to own that audience, and to your previous point, actually reach that audience. If you send out an email, they're getting delivered. It's going to be in the inbox. It's going to be. There's no algorithm in the inbox that says, don't let Maria see this email from Donnie. That doesn't exist. I can't imagine anytime soon that something like that will exist. And there's no other place where that's true online, where you can, because they can erase you. They're in the blink of an eye. And so I think that's a great opportunity as well. Or if you are a copywriter, reaching out to people who have Amazon stores. They have they're so big social media things, but they're not doing email. And you can find out if you're doing your research, because just go, and if they have some place for you to sign up for an email, then you can sign up and see what they do. And if they don't, then that they don't have one and they need one.
Right. Yeah.
And those are opportunities. No, I mean, closing that business in terms of getting in touch with the right people and selling them on you. I guess we could maybe talk about that, but that's a separate part. But that's an opportunity that you have to expand your potential reach and get some really interesting and fun clients.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. That's probably, I would have to say, one of my favorite parts about like having a copywriting firm is working with a diverse and very unique client base. You really run across some very interesting people. So it's just it's pretty cool. But anyway, I don't want to get off the topic. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah. I mean, okay, well, maybe we'll come back, because somebody's going to say, well, how do I close that business? I'd be curious to know. Well, maybe we can't say that for a second, because you have a tendency of, not tendency, but you have a track record of getting some pretty big name clients. We're not naming names here today, but is there a particular strategy that you employ to attract the attention of and earn currency with, and then, win the business of big clients?
So that's a great question, because for many reasons. One, what I'm going to share in terms of how I approach this, I want to just preface what I'm going to say, to say that obviously Donnie and myself, we've been in this space for a long time. And so we are operating at a pretty high level, right? At this point, I'm not going to say pretty high. We're operating at a high level.
Yeah.
And so what I'm going to share may not resonate with a copywriter who's just getting started. So I'm going to share my approach now. And then I'm going to talk about the way I would do it and the way I used to do it before I got to this point of working at a high level.
Great.
So honestly, at this point, as a published author, as someone who has worked with a number of, like Donnie said, kind of high profile clients, my approach is literally just being in the room where these people frequent, right?
Yeah.
So when I say being in the room, I mean in a very literal sense. If there are certain events, certain conferences, if there are certain meetup groups, whatever is happening where I know that my potential base is more than likely going to show up, I'm going to be there, right?
Yes.
So to be honest, sometimes I hear people talk about, oh my gosh, like I don't like talking to people. I don't like to sell. And my thought around that is, as a copywriter, what we do is so intimately connected to our clients. Like we are literally assuming their voice, we're assuming their personality, and we're conveying that in written word. So to say that you don't really like talking to people and things like that, I'm going to just be honest and say, like, that's a huge disadvantage to you as a copywriter, because you have to connect with your clients in order to do your job well. So my approach is, again, I show up in these spaces where these persons are. And by the sheer fact of me just being there, I don't have to do a whole lot of convincing, because then that herd mentality kicks in where all of us are making the same assumptions about each other because we're all in the same space, right? It's like, well, I mean, they got to be doing good because you here, you know what I'm saying? Like we have this whole like herd mentality. And to be honest, sometimes it don't work. Sometimes I'm in a room with a bunch of, I'm thinking I'm in a room with high rollers.
Clown.
And you find out clown energy. It's It's straight clown energy, So sometimes it doesn't always work out, but the point of the matter is, by the sheer fact that I'm there, that already knocks down a layer of rejection, because the other person I'm talking to is like, well, she up in here, so obviously she knows somebody. She did something. She is somebody, right? So then there's that. But usually how it looks is I meet a person, introduce myself. Of course, the question always comes up, what do you do for a living? This is when I explain to them what I do. Hey, I create wealth with words. I'm a copywriter specializing in email marketing, Of course, I talk about my book. And so at that point, they're no longer questioning, does this woman know what she's doing? At this point, it's just a matter of, okay, how much does it cost? How do we get started? Right? We get to that point. So that is my approach, is to show up in the spaces where I know the folks that I want to talk to are showing up. Now, if you're just getting started, because maybe you don't have access to those spaces, right?
Sure.
Maybe you can't afford the mentoring programs or the conferences and all of that, which I completely understand. If that's you, you've got to show up more online, because your people are online, and the same people I just talked about, those net worth persons, they online too.
Yes.
We're all online. So you've got to really show up on the internet. You have really got to show up on the internet. But most importantly, if nobody really knows you, because it's not enough to just simply show up. Don't get me wrong. If you're just getting started, it means a lot to show up. and to do so consistently.
Yes.
But you also need to have some results behind you, right? And so again, a lot of the reason why I'm in the spaces that I'm in at this point in my career is because I have the results to back me. I have clients, whose businesses went from 5 figures to multiple 6 as a result of working with me, right? I have clients whose crowdfunding campaign went from $0 to $500,000 because of working with us, right? So I have the results to back me. So that's why I'm in these spaces, because I can prove, yeah, I did that. That's the work of me. And when I say let me make sure I clarify, me and my team, shout out to Jeanette.
Yes.
But we did that. We did that, right? But if you're just getting started, and let's say that you're showing up online and like you're still not locked into clients, it's time for you to get some experience behind your back, or some experience behind you.
Yes.
Then the next question is, okay, so here we are, we're in that chicken and egg situation. You need the experience to get the high profile clients, but you need the high profile clients, or you need some kind of client to get the experience, right?
Yes.
So if you're in that cyclical, weird space that all of us have been in at some point where we, we don't know which comes first, my suggestion to you is that you start just talking to people. Again, like we're in this space where people don't like to talk.
Yeah.
Like, listen, you are a freaking copywriter. You need to be shouting it from the roof, from the mountaintops. Like everybody that comes into contact with you, and I talk about this in the Crash Course to Cash program, like every person that engages with you for longer than 2 minutes, they need to know that person is a copywriter. If somebody engages with you in conversation for less than, or for 2 minutes or longer, and they don't know what you do for a living, you've messed up. You're failing. Like that's my philosophy. Every person that comes across Maria knows at least 2 things. She's a writer. Now, of course, people don't, they don't understand what we do. So they'll just say something like, okay, she write emails. Cool, that works too. So I'm a writer of some sort. I've written a book. They know that. Those are like the 2 main things people know when they talk to me. So you've got to be shouting from the mountaintops.
Yeah.
This is what you do. Every time you go live, it needs to be an opportunity to plug your business. Look, let me tell y'all how petty I get with this plug. Because it's a real thing for me. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed to shout from the mountaintops about what I do. So, okay. Sorry, I was reading a message from Jeanette. All right. So, what I do is, first of all, my hotspot and all of that stuff on my phone, my Bluetooth, all of that is named after my book. So if we're in the same space together and you want to airdrop something to me, Donnie, you're going to see Words Are Wealth by Maria Lloyd. That's the name on my phone.
Nice.
Right? When I'm in a vehicle and I sync my phone to that vehicle, again, everybody in the car with me is going to see Words Are Wealth by Maria Lloyd. I'm very shameless. And that this is coming from somebody, again, like me and Donnie just acknowledged, humbly.
Yes.
We are operating at a high level. But even for me, I'm never going to see, there's never a moment where I'm not going to take advantage of the fact that I'm shouting from the mountaintops who I am and what I do. Even this call, I perfectly positioned my camera because somehow the zooming situation is kind of like weird. So I couldn't get it right. But as you can notice, to the left, of me, you're right. My book is conveniently positioned right there. That's intentional.
Yes.
Why? I'm going to shout it from the rooftop. My name on the screen says Maria Lloyd, author of Words Are Wealth. Again, I'm very shameless about letting people know who I am and what I do. And if you are too nervous, too prideful, too fearful to say who you are and what you do, you might need to explore just getting a job. And I say that respectfully. There's nothing wrong with being employed. Trust me. You have to be crazy to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
So this is not to be, this ain't no shade or none of that silly stuff. Like, again, there's a lot of merit, and I respect people that can hold down a job. So I'm not saying it to shade anybody. I'm saying it because that's the truth. If you are going in business for yourself, whether freelance or whatever you're doing, and if you're too bold, if you're
Timid.
timid, thank you. A lot of word escaped me. But if you're too timid, shy, shamed to promote yourself, don't even do it. Don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Just work for somebody, do a great job there, and get your check and go home so you don't have to talk about it. But me, oh, I'm gonna shout it from the mountaintops. Everybody knows. Okay, yeah, she's a writer, she's an author. This is what she does. Like, I'm not, nah. Everybody gonna know.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many really great points. I should have been taking notes on what I wanted to add to what you were saying, because I think you said so many good things. But one thing that, I mean, just based on that last point, there's nothing, believe me, the world needs all kinds. So being an employee is not a diss.
Not a
I've
diss.
had more jobs than almost anybody I know.
How many?
Oh, I can't even count, but I've had as many as three at one time. Did I tell y'all this? At one time, I worked at JCPenney's and Macy's in the same mall. And so JCPenney's on this side, Macy's on this side. I worked at Penny's in the morning and Macy's in the afternoon. So I couldn't eat in the food court because I couldn't afford for anybody to know. I worked for my own direct competitor.
Right.
Because I need, at the time, that's what I was doing to make money. And so anyway, I worked many jobs. You do what you have to do. And everybody's not built for the insanity of entrepreneurship. And so there's nothing wrong with that. If you are going for it, though, you got to be willing. I mean, here's the thing. If you're not, how much money do you want? The success of your business depends on you getting the word out about what you do, no matter what it is. If you're selling T-shirts, I'm wearing my guy's T-shirt, Sheku artificial T-shirt.
Nice.
No, he on social media, that's almost all I see from him. Everybody knows what he does.
Yep.
It's weird. He doesn't wear his own clothes that much, but whatever. Anyway, but if you have a T-shirt brand, you should be talking about T-shirts.
Yep.
If you have a grocery store, you should be telling people, come check out my produce section. It's the bomb. If you wrote a book, you should talk about your book. That's just, if you're not going to do that, you're asking for more trouble than you need to have. So I think that's a really important point. I want to say, to your first point, being in the room with people, I went to an event one time. It was an entrepreneurial event, and they were talking about marketing. And then at the end of the session, when it was over, and somebody said, "Oh, so what do you do?" "I'm a copywriter." "Hey, it's a copywriter over here." And I booked like 9 calls. Yeah, close everybody, but just by being in the room with people, because there's no other copywriter in that room. Yeah, everyone in that room knew copy is important. And so you got to be in the right rooms, like you said, rooms where your people are at. But the fact that you're in the room puts you in a whole different category from other people, especially because so many copywriters, especially, but in any industry you can think of, a good percentage of people are shy, or they don't see the value of investing in being in rooms with other people. And you by default win when you show up. Yep. So it's definitely a great strategy, and you can do that. I mean, as soon as you can, you should try to start being in rooms. Some of them are free.
Exactly. Yeah.
Some of them cost money. Maybe it takes you some time to do that. But also, I'll tell you, there are ways to get in paid rooms without paying full price.
Yeah, this is true.
You got to be resourceful. It's about how bad you want it. And I remember at one of Lamar Tyler's events, for those of y'all who know Lamar, a couple years back, when I went, I spoke in 2017. Yeah. And I happen to know somebody who got in there. By providing a service, I'll come and do X as long as I could be there and without buying a ticket. Come on.
Wow.
You got to be and it wasn't like I'll be serving tables. She was in there and she did something like that allowed her to be in the room to hear all the sessions, to mix it up with all the people. And she didn't pay for it at all. She just offered a service in kind of a bartering situation. So it's how bad you want it. You can get in a lot of these rooms without paying out of pocket for, or it's like you're a copywriter, let's say, maybe they could use copy. Like, I'll write some copy to help you promote or, whatever in exchange for, I just want to be in the room.
Exactly.
So there's ways of doing that. And I encourage you, if you can get in rooms where your people are, then you should try to do that. I'll say one other thing based on what you said. You do need to have some track record to back up who you are.
Mm-hmm.
But you should start promoting yourself today.
Yeah.
You're going to have to start at some point. So you just start to build the muscle of self-promotion right away. I know when I first started out, the second I knew what copywriting was, and I decided, like in our first call, that decision to change your own life.
Mm-hmm.
I made the decision, and then I said, I got to figure out how to make money from this, because I couldn't afford. Again, I'm working 2 up to 3 jobs. Right. At that time, I was working 1 job and doing 70 hours. It couldn't be no hobby for me. If I'm doing this, I'm getting paid to do this. And so you find some people who don't need the most sophisticated copy. Like if you have an interest of some kind or a background in education, you can go and write for, like if you own a German Shepherd.
Right.
You can go write for someone who does German Shepherd training or whatever without having the most advanced copywriting knowledge. But I know German Shepherds. I also know German Shepherd owners, how they think and what they care about. And so you can bring something to the table. So just focus on focus on strengths and opportunities that you have, and then expand from there. So I think you gotta want it, and you gotta be willing to go for it, even if that means stepping out of your comfort zone.
Exactly.
So for copywriters, we're introverts by nature, most of us.
Yeah. You
wouldn't believe that I am. Everyone I tell that to, they say, nah.
Yeah, I remember when you first told me, I was like, what?
Crippling introversion.
What?
It was bad. But and it's still, I still have to actively overcome it every day. If I leave the house, and if I'm going to a non-business thing, it's right back.
Wow, I'm so shocked.
Yep. If I'm going to be in a business environment, I know how to flip the switch. I mean, I know how to flip the switch, but it's automatic for me to flip the switch if I'm in an environment like that. But any place else, a lot of other places, for me, my default setting is introversion. I'm in the cut. My wife is totally the opposite. But I discovered the things that I wanted required me to be outgoing.
Yeah.
It required me to be willing to be uncomfortable enough to go be on a podcast, or to go stand on someone's stage and talk, or to be in a room and introduce myself and talk about my business to other people. And so again, it's how much money do you want? If you don't care about making money, money's not everything, but it is important. And if you want money, or you want to make an impact, and whatever that means, you got to be willing to be uncomfortable. And so I decided years ago, in order for me to get what I want, that's the cost of doing business, being willing to be uncomfortable. So for me now, it's easy to flip the switch.
Yeah.
But it's still a switch that has to be flipped. It's not my default.
Wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, I mean, I will say I'm definitely an omnivert in the sense that I do enjoy being around people, but also it can be a bit draining.
Sure.
So like after the fact, I mean, I'm exhausted. I can't, I have to have a period of isolation to kind of rebuild the energy, to entertain people, so and it seems like the older I get, the more pronounced it's becoming. Like when I was younger, I mean, I was just like probably full-fledged, extrovert, because I was raised as an only child. So being by myself is very comfortable for me. Like probably scared, in a very scary way, but I absolutely enjoy being alone. I love it.
Yeah.
So that's a very comforting place for me, but yet equally, I also enjoy being in the company of great people. But like I said, as I get older, I'm noticing, I need, like, if I spend some time with people, it's mandatory that I spend a few days alone to just kind of replenish whatever energy has been exerted. Right. So, it's so interesting, but you're right. A lot of us in this space, we do tend to be like introverted.
Yeah. Let me say something else about this. I've said this before, but we have been conditioned, I think, by the internet, by social media, to really be isolated in like in profound ways where we feel safe saying things. You get the Twitter fingers, right? Like where I can say something, but you don't. It's hard to engage in a way that we used to engage, and then you get in person with people, and you don't really know how to translate that into conversation, like meaningful conversation. It's just weird, and we've been trained to think that everything that sounds salesy is horrible, because on social media it's
Yeah.
it's just like, I don't want to have to sell anything. But the truth of the matter is, everything has to be sold.
Yep.
And so it doesn't mean being a slime ball, but you have to consider, how do I position whatever it is that I'm trying to promote? How do I position it in a way that is appealing and desirable to the person who I want to sell it to? And rather than taking this, I'll just let my work speak for itself. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. I'll just be so good they can't ignore me. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So, we got to get out of that and understand that, the default setting, again, I'll just go on Facebook and post a picture, and people, they don't come. The customers don't just automatically come.
No.
You have to be strategic about what you post, when you post, what you say when you post, and how you do it in a systematic way, because you can't just post once and assume that it's going to turn into business long-term for you either. So you have to have a sales mindset, but I really don't think about it as sales. Like, this is me being a leader.
Yeah.
And this is me helping people.
Yeah, exactly.
And for me, I've said, traditionally, copywriting is defined as salesmanship in print. So that's a good definition. My definition is showmanship in print, because these days you need to be also able to get people's attention. You need to be able to keep them entertained long enough to get to a place of selling. And that doesn't necessarily mean being like a clown, right? Or anything like that, but just providing value in a way that people want to pay attention to you, so that you can sell them today or you can sell them tomorrow.
Exactly.
So when it comes to email, you don't want to burn your email list out on email 1. You want them to want to read email 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 50. And so you got to bring what I call showmanship, which is just value and entertainment connection. I have 13 kinds of entertainment, which I don't even remember off the top of my head. I had to go find the list. But to do that in such a way where I can now sell you 50 times without ever being a jerk, without ever being pushy, but being in a way where you actually like me more, even though I'm being a salesperson.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. Like, what we're doing, and I love talking about copy from this perspective, but what's happening, Teddy? I'm so glad we know that pet name now. I'm just gonna start calling you Teddy. I'm just gonna start calling you Teddy from this point forward.
I know.
But I talk about this a lot. What copy does, copy is a bridge. Copy is a bridge between the business owner and the person seeking a solution that the business owner has to offer. And so that's why I love what we do, because it's bigger than just we're making money, we're selling something. Yep. We are legitimately bridging a gap of communication to connect people to a solution for their problem. And we do that by way of working with clients that have the solutions for the people's problems. So, yeah. You're definitely spot on with that. We're not just like out here just some old sleazy, shisty salespeople. We really are making a difference in the world. So, yeah. And I've actually had the pleasure of meeting people that have directly benefited from. Now, these are the consumers, we're not even talking about the clients. Of course, the clients benefit from, the money that's being earned. But I have actually met consumers who read copy I'd written and took action, and like their lives changed for the better. Like, literally, I'm thinking of at least two people off the top of my head, who read copy I've written years ago took action, and like to this day they're now 7-figure earners as a
Wow.
result of taking that action. So
Wow.
again, it's deeper than just I'm getting this money, I'm getting the bag. Everybody talks about getting the bag. Like, it's deeper than that. You've
Yeah.
got to make impact. When you
Yeah.
make an impact, the money is going to come, but
Yeah.
you got to make impact first. You got to drive impact. And so I think in this social media era where it's cool to stunt, it's cool to roll up in the Rolls Royce, and it's cool to, wear the jewels and
Yeah.
to hang out with the rappers and all this other stuff. I think unfortunately what that has done is like it has made people ashamed of like
Mm,
that grunt work. Well, I'm not gonna say grunt, but of that fundamental work that you have
sure.
to do, like that growth period. Like now you're actually embarrassed to
Yeah.
show that like you're growing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Yeah.
that's pitiful. Like that's life. Don't
Yeah.
get caught up in the social media glam. Like Jay-Z said, it's only entertainment. Like
Yeah.
a lot of this stuff is real life entertainment.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get yourself caught up in what these entertainers basically are doing. The real life stuff is the work. It is the growth. It is the failure. You're
Yeah.
gonna start stuff. You're gonna talk to prospects. They're not gonna close in, or that
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to close the deal. That's the reality.
Yeah.
And I can speak from that as somebody again operating at a high level. I mean, Donnie and I had a conversation recently. I spoke to a prospect that, in my mind, I felt was more than right for what we have to offer
Yep.
and at the price point that we offer it. And to my surprise, they were not a good fit, right?
Yep.
So you've got to get used to that. Like all this glam stuff, like don't get it twisted out here. People are grinding. Unless you're a scammer, and even to some extent they grinding too. It's just a different grind.
Yeah.
But, we're really out here grinding. We're getting rejected. We're failing.
Yep.
We're launching stuff. It ain't selling. I
Yep.
mean, it's just that's life, man. Don't get caught up in this glam stuff.
Yeah. It's such a great point. And at the end of the day, you want to be able to be proud of who you are and what you do.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
important.
so I think that, but that's what's great. And I've had the same experience of selling someone something through a client, and then having a chance to hear from them voice to voice. I was on a phone call, one older gentleman, and just flowing with having great things to say about how we helped him in his retirement years, to really get security and to live.
Wow.
I wouldn't have known what I would have done if it wasn't for what y'all did for me, help me out.
Wow. That's beautiful.
And so it's like, this is why we do what we do. And you can get the bag, but it's short term.
Yeah, that's real short term.
What you need to be able to do is, like you said, if you deliver value, deliver impact, the bag gonna be chasing you.
Yep. Yep.
And that's where we got to get to. So it takes grinding, it takes failing. Believe me, it takes failure sometimes over time. You're not everything isn't going to be a home run.
Yeah, that again.
And you got to be willing to take the chance of failing in order to get out here and learn what we got to learn, do what we got to do. Sometimes you're taking shots and they just don't work.
Yep.
But if you never take the shot because you're scared, you don't get the bag, and you don't give nobody else no bag.
Exactly. And also, people are afraid of like if the thing fails, how that can impact them. But honestly, in every failure, there's a lesson.
Yeah.
The only time I believe that there is a true failure is if you didn't take the lesson. If you didn't get the lesson from that situation, and you did, you failed, right?
Yeah.
If you don't understand the lesson behind it, yep, you absolutely failed. And that's a tragedy. But if you're willing to take the lesson behind it, I mean, again, there have been so many times that I have attempted something in business that didn't work out. I've hired the wrong people to fulfill certain roles. I've worked with nightmare clients, right?
Yeah.
I've worked with clients that, don't respect your time. So they keep coming with all these changes after you've already solidified the project.
Yeah.
So all of these things that I've endured over these years, for me, that's not a failure when it didn't go the way I saw fit or the way that I wanted it to go. what that is for me is it's an opportunity for growth and, and for insights. And so
Yeah.
what I've done now, like for example, oh, Ahmed, oh, well, thank you.
Appreciate you.
What I've done now is, for example, with the client that what they call what we call scope creep, right? Where the
Oh,
client
yeah.
keeps changing the scope of the project. So now what I've done is I have mechanisms in place to kind of, reiterate and stress this is what we're doing. And if you're taking us off this path, that incurs this fee or that has this kind of. And so now my clients are aware if they're asking for a bunch of changes, the next question they know to ask is, okay, how much is that?
There
Right.
you go.
Because
There you
it's
go.
going to come with a cost, right?
And it should.
So, just don't let fear debilitate you. As I always say, usually if I'm afraid to do something, that means there's an incredible lesson waiting for me on the other side. And to be honest, that has yet to fail me. Every time I've gone through something and it didn't necessarily work out the way I intended it to, I've gotten an incredible life-changing lesson behind it. So, I
Yeah.
mean, and if it went the way I wanted it to, I still got lessons behind that too.
Yeah. Like you had to pay attention to the win also.
Yeah,
Why did this work? Don't just assume it's because I'm a brilliant person and I can do it anytime I want until you've done it 10 times the same flawless way. Then maybe you can just assume you know what you're doing. But
right.
when you win, try to dissect that and see, how did this happen? How do I make sure it happens next time?
Exactly. How do you
Yeah,
replicate that?
that's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a great point. Okay, great. These conversations are always fun. Now,
Yes.
I'm gonna do the Birdman question.
Oh gosh. Okay.
I prepared some thoughts about this because I sent an email about this, and I had thought, I was like, I know what I'm gonna ask Maria. Uh, so I had time to prepare some thoughts, but you haven't had time.
I have
But
not. Ooh,
in your
pressure.
experience, as you're creating copy, particularly an email, but wherever you're using it, what makes people buy? Or if you want to say it in a different way, like what's the difference between copy that sells and copy that fails? But we're going to use fail for copy that didn't sell.
Right, exactly. Okay. The biggest issue or the biggest difference between the copy that sells versus that the copy that does not would be alignment.
Hmm.
The message has to align with the prospects issues or whatever it is that they're looking for, right? There has to be alignment there. And so I will say that has been the biggest difference that I've noticed is that when that copy doesn't sell, there is it's not aligned. The copy is not aligned with the offer, and or the offer is not aligned with the base, the client base or the prospect base that's being
Yeah.
targeted. So alignment is like the first word. As I listened to your question, I was like, yeah, that for me, it has to be alignment. Like it's just not aligned.
Yeah.
And so then somebody may ask, okay, so how does one get to the point of alignment, right?
Yes.
And so, people have this misconception that the hardest part about copywriting is writing.
Mm.
I
Speak
beg
on
to differ.
it.
The
Speak on it.
hardest part about copy is the research.
Yes.
Because I mean, if that's not on point, you can forget about it. I can write the best copy in the world, but if that copy doesn't resonate with the target audience, if it's not aligned, then it's a miss, right? So for example, in my day-to-day language, I tend to use I guess what some people would consider GRE words. And if you're not from the United States, that's basically just a fancy way of saying like big words, like
Yeah.
collegiate words. And that's my day-to-day. Now, let's say that I'm writing copy for a client and their audience base is 22 to 54,
Yeah.
maybe some college, but or maybe not. But nevertheless, it's a broad audience. Well, I have to really be careful because my natural inclination is to use like the big words,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But when you're speaking to a broader audience, I mean, unless you're speaking to a very sophisticated intellectual audience, you've really got to learn how to I don't want to say dumb it down because that's actually, I think that's a bit insulting. You
Sure.
got to learn how to change the way in which you communicate a message so that it resonates with the masses. It's
Yeah.
aligned with the masses, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I said, there have been times where I've written copy. Again, this is the reality. I'm not in the stunner culture. I don't do the whole stunting, and I want to show y'all pulling up I'm in a Range Rover and all that. That's not my thing.
Right.
So I can be very transparent and say there have been instances where I've written copy that just did not align because again, in my natural inclination to use these larger words, I didn't think like people probably are reading this and don't even know what the hell I'm saying. Like they don't even know what this means. And so, yeah, it's just something I have to fight often because again, that's my natural inclination.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say alignment is the like direct answer to your question. Is like if that copy doesn't sell, the messaging does not align with the
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I think, we have that in common, that GRE disposition or
Yeah.
that's how I do it too. I was on a call right before we got on this call with a person, a marketing manager or something like that for one of my clients. And somehow in this conversation, I used the words recalcitrant
Oh.
and bloviate,
Oh.
pestilence. It's just weird. So, but
Wow.
if those things make it into the copy, you had to be sure you're talking to college professors
Definitely. Yeah.
or surgeons or something, because the average person
No.
doesn't speak that way. And even if they, not to say they don't understand, but it's going to stand out as, that's weird. Like, why are we talking this way?
Yeah.
Now, I do talk that way. When I'm face to face with people, I use words and then I think about it like, am I showing off? What's happening here? I just feel, but like, I like words, like you like words.
Yeah,
And so the
exactly.
word that really fits what I want to say is recalcitrant right now. And so that's just what happens. But when you're writing, you got to make sure that it fits. If you're talking to a particular audience, you need to talk in a way that resonates with that audience. That's actually the first thing on my list of maybe a slightly different angle.
Yeah.
But your alignment of language, but you said it, alignment of priority. Like, what is it that's important for them? Am I selling what's important to them?
Yep.
Or am I selling something they don't care about? Because if I'm trying to sell something they don't care about, they're not going to buy it. Why would they?
Yep. That's a great point.
And nobody's on your email list for the fun of it.
Right.
On your email list because they expect to get something out of it, something for them. My wife, I say this all the time. She's on the Old Navy email list. And every time Old Navy sends an email, we're getting new clothes. I wish they didn't send emails every day because
right.
We got graphic tees for days, and it's what $20 jeans, like the kids, a mountain of jeans is tall, which is fine. My 12-year-old is growing like, I don't know, like a chia pet.
Oh wow.
He's as tall as I am. He's 12.
What? At 12?
Yeah, he's almost 6 feet. So he's almost as tall as me.
Whoa.
And so anyway, so we need to buy new clothes all the time. But so it's important for her to have clothes and to look nice and this is cute. So that's aligned with her priorities of, because she buys stuff for me sometimes. She doesn't buy anything for herself because she don't wear Old Navy like that. she has a higher level of she likes looking nice in a way that Old Navy doesn't really deliver.
Okay.
But for me, like, I'm basic t-shirts and jeans, and the kids, they're going to school. They not all Old Navy, but they buy a lot of it. So anyway, it's aligned with her priorities. If I'm sending emails, it needs to be aligned with people are on my list to hear about copywriting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I need to write about copy, or I need to write about something related to that. And if I start talking about something else, the latest vegan diet trends, they're gonna disengage very quickly.
Yep.
If I try to sell an affiliate offer on how to eat healthy, they'll be like, "What are you doing?" It's just weird. And so that's the first thing. Ahmed, I'm going to get to your question in 1 second. The other thing I wanted to highlight, actually, I said there was 4 things.
Yep.
One of them is that alignment piece, alignment with language, alignment with priority. Again, like also something that I like, but it's not a priority for me is whatever. Like if you sending emails for something, it has to be like a top priority to make sure that they're going to read an email about it and buy it. Not just, okay, I like the Chicago Bulls, but I don't care about them. So I'm not going to go buying Chicago Bulls gear. But for some people, they rep hard. I'm a Bulls fan for life, you know, and they want to make sure they always got the new hat and they want to wear the Zach LaVine jersey, whatever. And so they buy that. So but that ties into the second part is identity. Like if you can tap into, and this actually is also aligned in the same, or is connected to alignment. If you can connect your offer to how they see themselves, right? Then they're going to want to buy, like how you're going to help them to become who they want to be, or to express who they are, right? So there's, like I said, in the case of someone who's a Bulls fan, every day I go out, I wear the Bulls hat. They'll buy Bulls gear over and over again.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great point.
Or if they're, I mean, I didn't pick anything right there, but this is part of who I am is, you talk about the stunt culture. Like, ooh, if I buy that piece of jewelry, back in the day when the sunglasses, that was the thing. I got to have these new shades. I'm going to pull up. Nobody's got the shades. I'm going to lock the block down with these. And then, but you promote it to them in that way. This is how you shut them down when you walk in a room. All eyes are on you. It's connected to the identity of who they are or who they want to be. That's the second thing.
Yeah,
the third thing, and this I like. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just said that's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something we don't talk about as easily because that's in the research. You don't know who they want to be unless you do the research.
Exactly.
Or you don't necessarily know how they see themselves and their place in the world unless you talk to them, unless you stalk them online, you read the comments that they leave in Facebook groups and on Amazon products and things. And when you do those things, you can say, oh, this is what they wished they could be, but they're not sure how to get there. Well, let's help them get there. Or this is what they love about this product. It helps them express who they are in some specific way. And but let's highlight that. Let's not make them connect the dots for themselves. But they say, oh, if I bought this, it would help me express myself. Let's talk about what this does for you by enabling you to be boldly who you are, fully who you are. So I think that those are important points. The third one that I like is if you can reframe the problem that they experience, help them see that they misunderstand the problem. And the new understanding of the problem that you present them is so blatantly obvious once they see it, then they instantly want to buy. Oh, you figured out my problem. That's not always easy to do.
Right.
Not always easy to do. But, I think that it's something that, like in weight loss, for example, they're always trying. I'm not going to say they're always successful, but they'll say, oh, the reason you're not losing weight is because you have, what's the one? It was like cortisol, whatever it is.
I have no idea. Oh, yeah, I think it's cortisol.
What are those? And it says it causes belly fat to accumulate, and you can't get rid of it. So it's like, oh, it's not because I eat pork rinds and drink chocolate shakes twice a day and refuse to exercise, and that's fine because you don't want to make people feel bad. But I mean, positioning it here, let's help you understand why you really struggle.
Right.
And now you say, oh, okay, well, how do I get rid of the cortisol then? And then boom, here's how you get rid of cortisol. And then if that's convincing and they buy into your reframe, then they want to buy. So that's still aligned with priorities. Because if I don't care about the belly fat, it doesn't matter. So you're right on the money. If I don't care about the belly fat, actually my wife kind of likes it. Right? She's like, my honey thick.
Oh gosh.
I was very skinny for the first 10 years we were married, like very skinny. And so having gained a little bit of what Will Smith calls man meat, right? Is that what you call man meat? when he was
I
talking
don't
about,
know. I didn't know he said that. That's funny because I know he can gain some weight for sure.
and he looks good too, right?
Mhm.
I think he was talking to Jaden, and Jaden's like, "When am I going to look like you, Dad?" He said, "Nah, it took some years to get this man meat. Like you're gonna have to put the
That
time.
is
It's hard.
hilarious.
It's hard to, when you're a teenager, you got a teenager body most of the time,
Mhm. Mhm.
and especially when you're like me, skinny like that. My son looks exactly the same, and then, but when I'm 35 and when I'm 40, this is a different conversation.
Yeah, that is true. I don't know why that's so interesting. Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah. And the fourth thing, it's really the same, and I won't belabor this point, but it's if when we have an opportunity to uh, stack value way beyond what the cost is, or it's to stack desire. Like I
Yeah.
really want to do this, and you just layer on. When you do this, you get boom, 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 and the email is great for that, right?
That's
Because
so
over
true.
time, you can show them, just build the desire up.
Yep.
When you do this, you're going to be smarter. When you do this, your hair is going to grow back.
Yep.
When you do this, your eyesight's going to get better. When you do this, the belly fat goes away. And
Yep.
when you do that, it's the same thing, but you just
Yep.
build it up. And if you can do that in one thing, like the value stack, this bonus is worth $20 and this bonus is worth $30.
Yep.
But it's real value, like not just I said it's worth $9, but you don't care. But I really wanted that anyway. And you're going to give it to me as part of this other thing? How many times have we bought something for the bonus and didn't even care about the main product?
I know that's so true. Yeah, that's true. The bonuses were on point. Very
Like,
true.
I just need the t-shirt that come with,
Right.
I don't even really care about, I don't even, but if I can get that t-shirt though, it'll be worth the $19.99 that I spent. So those are four things that in my estimation really make people, they can instantly go from blah, whatever to,
Yeah.
I gotta have that.
Exactly.
Justin, I was just talking about you yesterday, Justin.
Big idea. I used to love that show, The Big Idea with Donnie Deutsch. Oh my gosh, I used to love that show so much.
Donnie
I
Deutsch was
love that show. Yeah. So, okay, I know that you said you wanted to address Ahmed's question.
Yes.
How can email copywriters use the Chat GPT to produce maximum results? Okay, great question. So when it comes to Chat GPT or any AI technology for that matter, to be honest, Ahmed, it's a tool, right? And so the more specific that you can be, and even more detailed too, that you can be in terms of what you want that output to be, the better, right? So for example, if I just simply put into Chat GPT, or I just got access to Bard, Google's AI yesterday. But if I put just a simple line of text, or of copy that says, write me an email about the importance of email marketing, right? Now, these tools are highly sophisticated. They'll dish out something cool. But if I say, write me a 300-word conversational email about the benefits of email marketing for people who are in the pet grooming space. Okay, the more detailed and specific you can become, you are now giving them really solid, giving it really, look, I'm already referring to it as them. You're already giving the droids really great instructions, so that way they can output some great content for you. So again, it's really, as much as we try to bypass the work, we still have to do the work. And so in this case, with the artificial intelligence, the work on your part is just going to be making sure that you're as detailed and specific as possible, so that way when the technology dishes out the results, it's exactly what you're looking for. So Donnie, what are your thoughts? I would love to hear your thoughts about
that. I think that's a great an important point, because everyone is selling you something on Chat GPT right now. Everyone is telling you this is going to make you 10 times more money. I saw, you've seen them too, like how to make $10,000 extra this month with Chat GPT.
Yes.
In and of itself, that is a meaningless statement, because it can't do anything by itself.
Nope, it can't.
You had to know what you're looking for. And you know what you wanted to do. You had to find some place to send the message.
Exactly.
Right? If you don't have an email list, you can't do anything with it. That's not true, because you can put it on Facebook and you can put it whatever. But you have to have certain things in place in order to make that money. I think your point is important. To properly frame it, you had to do the research, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
Previous point. Understand what it is that your ideal clients want. So it really depends on what you're trying to accomplish with it. But understand what you want to accomplish with it. Then you had to go in there and, as you say, give a detailed prompt and probably modify over the course of this thing. It's because it's going to spit something out at you. You say, even if you said, write a 300 word conversational email for pet groomers and trying to sell them into my training course on how to be $1 million pet groomer. It will give you something, but you can go back and say, you know what, add time urgency and put it in whatever, just add additional things and rewrite it as shorter. Add more detail. You get more compelling, more urgency. And then if you do that several layers deep, you begin to find that it can be pretty effective. And I found that GPT-4 gets there a little faster, at least, in my experience, gets there faster than.
I haven't played with GPT-4 yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's not always better. I just got a text says sometimes 3.5 is better. And that's true. That's true. The other thing that's true is across different platforms, you get different outputs. Bard, which could be renamed Board.
I'm like, why didn't y'all just name the thing Brad? Come on, I gotta sit here and I gotta really think about Bard. Oh, it's not Brad, it's Bard. Like, come on, Google.
I think that Google's playing it really safe right now.
I think so too.
And I understand that, but after playing with it for one day, I'm like, maybe I'll check back in a month or something, because what they're doing now, they've got a couple of cool little functionality, a couple of cool functions.
Yeah,
but the output is just less interesting than what Chat GPT can do. Hello Scribe, which we've talked about, well, not on this, but in previous conversations. Hello Scribe is a, for those of you who care, Black-owned AI platform that has a lot of, it's specifically designed for copywriters. So it has a lot of specific ways of, you can format it. Like, if I want to write an email, boom, I want to write a Facebook post. You tell it that as like drop down menus. What I want to do, press release. If I want to do idea generator, all these things you can select. And then it gives you infinite outputs, not 3 like Bard does. So it's actually really cool. And you can check it out at Hello Scribe. Actually, I don't know. I think it's helloscribe.com, but don't quote me on that. I should know. I'm not an affiliate.
Very interesting.
I had a chance to talk with Paul Thompson, who's the owner there.
Nice.
Very cool guy, very intelligent guy. And he said, as a creator of one of these tools, it's a tool for professionals. You had to bring your professionalism to it. It's not designed to give you an a final product necessarily. It's designed to increase your efficiency. Give you some additional ideas, creativity, put things in a form that you as a professional can use, and it will speed you up. So it's not saying you would never get a final output. I'm glad Conrad is here. Not that it would never give you anything that you could just use. Of course it will.
Right.
But you need to consider that there's still a human need that you need on the front end in terms of what to feed in. And once it comes out, you may still have to do some additional tweaking. You have to know it doesn't actually know anything.
Right.
It doesn't know whether it's telling the truth or it's lying. It doesn't know if the facts are really accurate or not. And it doesn't know your audience. So you had to do the fact checking. You had to do the tweaking to make sure that it's finally fine-tuned into what you want to accomplish. And those are all things that you got to do. So I say that to say, go in and use these tools. Please get familiar with them. Unfiltered has a really cool one.
Unfiltered is good, man. Oh, it's good.
Bing, I'm a big fan of Bing. Bing,
I
because
heard Bing's is good.
Bing makes Google look like a toddler.
Wow.
Google
Okay.
Bard, I won't get into it, but Bing has has GPT-4 built in.
Oh, nice.
It also is a search engine, so it's actively searching the web for answers. So it has stuff built into the database they can pull from, but also it can search the web. Also, it links to the things that it refers to. It tells you what it's referring to, which Bard won't do. It's funny. I did some prompting yesterday, and I asked something goofy. No, matter of fact, it says if you don't know where to start, click one of these. And one of the first three was, help me add high protein vegan options to my diet. So I just clicked it, and it gives me a list of 4 or 5 things. I was just like, first I was surprised because I spent a lot of time playing with Bing.
Right.
Why is it just giving me these tips but not telling me where it's getting it from? It's a search engine. I'm assuming it's searching.
Right.
And I said, where did these tips come from? I referred to, because it called itself I referred to clinical dietitians, health practitioners, and other experts, period. I said, well, who? Tell me who you got it from. And then it listed some people. But here's the interesting thing.
This is so crazy.
Bard has 3 drafts automatically. And when you look at one, it says, I talked to Dr. A, Dr. B, Dr. C. And then on the second draft, I talked to Dr. D, Dr. E, Dr. G. I'm mixing up my letters now. And I was like, well, did you refer to all of them? All 12 of these people? Actually, more. It's probably like 18, 20 doctors to get 4 tips. You distilled all their wisdom into 4 tips for me? Or are you now searching the web to find dietitians, health practitioners, and just giving me a list? None of that is transparent. Whereas Bing, in the output, says, I got it from here. Bing sometimes lies as well, which I have documented
on
video. But at least it gives you a starting place where you can say, okay, you referred to this supposedly when you got your answers. And so I prefer Bing head and shoulders above. I was like hands and feet. I mean, head and shoulders above Bard.
Oh, yeah.
One other thing that I'll just say is you can use, and this is not invented by me, but you can give the AI a model. Like instead of just saying, give me an email about pet groomers, you can say, here's an email about pet groomers that I like.
Yeah.
I want you to analyze it, get the style and voice and tone, analyze that, and then make me another one that's similar. Or you can say, here's a sales page, give me an email that would refer to this sales page.
Mm-hmm.
And that way you're giving a really a lot of context for what you want it to give you.
Yep. True.
And so you can use that to speed up what you're doing and just be more efficient, more productive as a copywriter. And so for me, you're getting maximum results by using it to speed up what you're able to do. And you can use it for part of the research process. I just suggest that doing research using AI, you kind of have to use it as it's not super deep. I haven't found it to be super deep.
Yeah, that's true.
You want really deep answers, or if you're thinking about a really deep topic, you still want to refer to experts that you can trust rather than just getting, like if you said, hey, what are 3 things I can do that would put high protein vegan options in my diet? It'll give you something. That's research. But if you want to know deep why this works, who says it, what are the dissenting opinions, you need to do other research, which is why we're saying before, research is really important. Anyway, I've been talking for a long time. I've been bloviating for a long time about this.
No. I mean, but everything you said is spot on. I mean, and it's funny, as you were talking, in my mind, I was thinking, again, it's still work. See, everybody is trying to, and not you, Ahmed, by the way, this is not for you. I promise it's not. A lot of people are trying to bypass the work. It still is work. Like you just said, you can't even take what the AI says just as is, especially if it's, bringing up some data and stuff, some facts. You can't even, like, you still got to go and, find the fact. That's work, so it's like all of us are trying to skip this one thing that, I mean, to date, it's just no getting around it. You got to do some work, man. You got to put the prompts in there. You got to edit the copy that it produces. I mean, by the time you finish all that, would it have been just easier for you to have done it, outright, or what? Oh,
and
try to shortcut the shortcut. I love that. Man,
that's a great point. Conrad sent me a screenshot of Chat GPT just a couple weeks ago, where he said, "What is 3 + 4?" Chat GPT says it's 7, and then the person says back, "My wife says that it's 6." And Chat GPT says, "Well, is it possible that your wife is mistaken?" And then he says back, "My wife is never wrong." And then Chat GPT says, "Well, I'm only trained up to 2021. There's a chance that there's been updates and I'm mistaken. So if your wife says that it's 6, 3 + 4 is 6, then 3 + 4 is 6."
Oh, wow.
It doesn't know. It's so you just have to be aware. You still have to be an expert to a great extent. You still got to work. This can just be a great tool for you. I was also using it yesterday. I was trying to do research because I was using Google and Bing, whatever, the regular search engine to try and find some information. And it was just really convoluted. I'll tell you specifically what it was, just so you'd be like, what is Donnie looking up? I was looking for old Apple partnerships when Apple was first making the iPhone. I got lots of lists of companies they worked with, but I was looking for what are some of the obscure ones. And when I asked Bing, was it Bing? I asked one of them, "We can't find any partnerships." Like, what are you even talking about? Of course, there's some obvious ones. And then one of the other ones gave me some of the basic ones, but it didn't solve the problem for me.
Yeah.
It just, I still ended up spending more time on Google trying to find, verifiable, because also with what it tells me, I have to go check.
Exactly.
They worked with Johnson & Johnson and put the baby oil on. And there's no baby oil on the iPhone. What are you talking about? So you got to go double check. I said that to say you can shortcut the shortcut, but you're taking a risk if you do that.
Yeah, true.
You got to have clients too. If you're thinking about a copywriter, you got to get clients.
Exactly. Yep.
And so Chat GPT can help you create content for yourself as you're promoting yourself. As Maria said at the top, showing up online. If you don't know what to say, to show up online, this can help you come up with ideas, topics. It can actually help you write your blog posts or your Facebook posts or your Instagram captions or your video topics. It can help you do those things, but you still got to record the video. You still got to go out and deploy the copy. And then when somebody sends you a message, you got to know how to respond in a way that you can get the business. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So, I mean, you can speed up the work efforts.
Yeah.
But there is no bypassing the work at all. We all got to just do the work.
Yeah. Yeah. And in my experience, I've never been able to get copy straight from even back and forth prompting and modifications that I can just hand off to a client as such. I can do it myself, but I haven't. From when it comes to clients and even for myself, I'm like, I would approach this in a totally different way. If you want to sound like everybody else, then you can just do that. But if you want to be unique, if you want to stand out as a leader and someone who approaches things you think differently. Differentiate yourself? You can't use the tool that everyone else is using and sound different. You just can't.
Exactly.
So, I don't want to discourage you at all, but I mean, the point is use it to expedite and accelerate, but just keep in mind, you still got to do research. You still got to double check the facts. You still got to know your audience. You still got to, make sure that final product is good to go and it represents you and your client, or if you're a business, represents your brand in a way that you can be proud of.
Exactly. Yep. Spot on. Spot on. Any more questions from the now I know, Donnie, you probably have some questions. I am curious to know, anybody that's tuning in, if you all have any questions. I know in the past we've had some Pretty juicy questions.
Juicy
But if
question.
not, you always ask really great questions too. So
Well, I think I had only prepared 2 questions and we've talked about them.
yep.
And so
I'm sure something will come up.
something will probably come up.
Yep. I'm sure
Well,
something will
you
come
know
up.
what we could do, because we've actually been on this thing for an hour and a half. We could tell people about what.
Oh, wow.
I know it doesn't seem like it's been long,
It doesn't.
but we can tell people what they can do as a next step to really take.
Yes.
Because ChatGPT is a good tool, but it can only take you so far. But we got something that can
Exactly.
help you go even further.
Exactly. So yes, we are literally Donnie and myself. Well, Donnie is our valued partner, but basically we have launched Crash Course to Cash. And so literally what we're doing is we are holding your hands over an 8-week period, once a week for 8 weeks total, literally teaching you step by step how to build a 6-figure email marketing campaign. Okay. So that is what we're doing in Crash Course to Cash. In fact, today
Yeah.
makes it exactly 1 week before the deadline. The deadline is next Friday at 11:59 p.m. Central Time.
Yep.
Okay. And like I've said previously, the deadline is the deadline. So, there won't be an extension. There won't be oops, there was a glitch. Here's your second chance. No. Even if there is a glitch, oh, well, I guess it wasn't meant for you this time. Like,
Don't wait till the last second.
exactly. We've been pushing this for a whole month. Like,
Yeah.
you could have been jumped on board. But no, on a very serious note, as I shared early on, Conrad said, can he get a recap? So early on, I shared that, I've had the fortune and the privilege of helping business owners literally take their business from 5 figures to multiple 6 figures. I've had the pleasure of working on crowdfunding campaigns that went from $0 to $500,000, right? As a result of working with me and my team doing email marketing. This is something I've been doing consistently since 2012 now. I've been a copywriter since 2004, but in terms of my experience with email marketing in particular, I've been doing this since 2012 consistently. So with that being said, we are literally rolling out the roadmap, the blueprint, whatever you want to call it. Use us as your GPS system. We're not giving you a map and telling you this is how you do it. We are actually taking you to that destination. And again, that destination being building that 6-figure email marketing campaign. So that is what we're doing. I'm super excited, as always, to share that Donnie partnered with us on this, which is just amazing. And so, Donnie, if you don't mind sharing with our good friends how you partnered with us, I would appreciate that.
Of course. Well, first of all, Conrad, you're very funny. He says, I'll just listen to it at 2.5 speed. So very good. Very good.
That's what I do.
And Ahmed says, thank you for the detailed answer to the question. Hopefully it was helpful. And listen, this AI is moving fast. The whole conversation could be different in 6 months.
True.
One thing I'm glad about is that I think some of the fear is ratcheted back. We don't all think that our jobs are disappearing. We're looking at the opportunity now more than the threat. At least that's the sense that I get. But yeah, for this program, I'm really honored to collaborate here and offer to people who join Crash Course to Cash my Inbox X Factor program, which, long story short, it gives you a year's worth of email ideas day by day. You'll get 365 days worth of email ideas. It's really like at least two ideas per day. So on any given day, if you don't know what to write for yourself or for a client, with a client, you had to there's additional context to factor in. But if you don't know what to write to promote yourself in email, you could use it as social as well. I'll tell you what to do. I mean, just go write about this. Also, I found that they give you a good starting place for AI. You can throw these things into your AI as prompts, just beginner prompts. They're not very detailed like that because they weren't designed that way. But you can put them in there, and then the output that you get can spark an idea for you to write your email or your social post or story that you want to tell. So 365 days worth of email ideas and inspiration. There's over 100 subject lines proven to get opens. Not that we're not tracking open rates, but we know people need to open the email.
Right.
And not only that, but we need them to open the email in a way that they're interested to read what you have to say, and they're in the right mindset to take whatever action you need them to take. So obviously, just from a subject line, you have to guide that process. But a lot of times people tell me, what subject line should I use to get people to pay attention? Because it's a challenge.
Yeah.
We know that, again, email gets delivered versus social media posts, which many people never see. But
Right.
you still have to get the attention of someone in the inbox.
Exactly.
They got it. Look at this. They're going to do, like, how many emails do you got? Where's my email? I don't know. It doesn't say. There's 10,000. You just, there's more. They never end. How do you get someone to stop and open with their mind ready to pay attention to what you're saying? So I've got over 100 subject lines. And there's 10 video training modules where we're going to talk about individual elements of your email marketing campaigns, or email copywriting in general, that will help you to sell more. It's going to help you to be more impactful, more influential. And ultimately, that makes you more money. Now, we're not talking about just getting the bag, but we're talking about working in a way that provides value, that makes you worthy of getting money back. You're worthy anyway, but you deserve You earn it back.
Yep.
You're going to provide great copy, provide great experience, and sell for yourself or for your clients in a way that makes money come back to you. So I think those are the parts of the program. And as I've said, I'm not selling it any place else. The only way you can gain access to this, I mean, a handful of people have access to it, but I'm not selling it anywhere else. And I'm not sure when I will start selling it again. If ever, I might move on to the next thing. You're going to get access to that as part of Crash Course to Cash in perpetuity, as long as Maria's got stuff for you. And she's got ongoing stuff that she didn't even tell you about. But as long as you're in the program, you'll have access to Inbox X Factor and whatever updates I come up with, because I do have some other things I need to add.
Yay. Awesome. So yeah, guys, Donnie has the link. I don't know if you've
let me
okay. So, yeah,
I'll be talking and forgetting.
No, it's fine. Donnie is sharing the link.
Oh man, let me put it. I got it in the wrong thing. I gotta figure out the technology here.
So as y'all can tell, we are not like, we're not hard pressed salespersons. No. It's not the like strong arming you to do anything. Yeah. As I shared previously, if you go to the landing page and energetically it doesn't feel aligned, again, we talk about that alignment thing. If it doesn't feel aligned, by all means, no hard feelings or anything, totally understand. Then it's just not a good fit. But if you go to that landing page and the messaging resonates with you and you're ready to take action and you're ready to, get that 6-figure email marketing campaign launched this year, well, now you need to go ahead and sign up. And, I forgot to mention the price point, as I always do.
Oh, yeah.
As I always do. No, I know, right? Thank you. I needed that. So I'm sure, you may be curious as to like, how much does this cost? And it's $297. It is a one-time fee. And I promise you, it will never, ever, 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 ever be that low again. So this is the absolute lowest price point that you can sign up for Crash Course to Cash. And there is a hybrid. So you get some foundational courses in the Prosperity Portal, which is the membership side of the site. But then we work together starting actually in 2 weeks, basically.
Yep.
April 7th, we're working together, and we're going to work together from April 7th until May 22nd. So it's a hybrid where you're working with myself and my team, and you get access to the foundational courses, Donnie's course as well. Lifetime access. So I'm just saying, y'all better, we are exactly a week away from the deadline. If you haven't signed up, you need to go ahead and do it now, because it's going to be gone.
The interesting thing is, I mean, I mentioned this on a previous live stream. I was charging between $47 and $97 per month for Inbox X Factor. And there was not the hand holding. There's not the, here's how to do what you do. I had a couple of question and answer sessions. But there was nothing to this extent, and you're paying as much as $100 per month for that. You're going to pay $300 one-time fee, or there's a $75 if you want to need a payment plan, right? It's $75,
Yep.
and then you pay the balance off. Is it in 14 days?
30 days.
30 days. So you got 30 days to make
Yep.
the balance of that.
Yep.
So I mean, the value, if you had any desire to get Inbox X Factor at all, I mean, the price of, 3 months or 6 months at most, you're going to get that for free as part of Crash Course to Cash.
Yeah.
But also, as you think about it, 8 weeks of hands-on training with a proven copywriter, email expert who's worked with some of the biggest names out there, generated hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars in sales. I mean, individual campaigns doing in multiple six figures. She's going to show you how you can do the same thing. Is it worth $300? Easily worth $300. And I've said it before also, I've seen courses similar, and probably not even as much live instruction as this.
Right.
But similar in scope that go for 10 times as much. So, I mean, the value is unbelievable.
And I mean, I paid for courses like that, Donnie, to your point. Yeah. I paid for courses where, in terms of the ability to connect with the subject matter expertise in real time is extremely limited. And yet it was at least, $2,000-$3,000, $5,000+, whatever. So, I mean, like I mentioned, previously, it will not be at this price point moving forward. So this is the lowest price point that you can possibly sign up. And so it's now or never, really. Yeah, so if you don't sign up now, or, of course, before the deadline next week, well, just be prepared to have to dig a little deeper in that wallet. Oh, I didn't even know I was frozen. I knew something was going on, but just be prepared to still frozen. Be prepared to dig a little deeper in that wallet.
Yeah, no, I mean, here's another thing. If you think about it, I just saw an offer from another big name, copy expert, email expert, and it's a recording I think he said it's a 3-hour recording, and that costs $200.
Yep.
There's nothing else. There's no additional hand holding. There's no live instruction. Watch this recording. You can't ask no questions. It happened in the past. And there's not going to be updates going forward. That's the other thing that you miss, not you're missing out on, but that we haven't mentioned yet, is that this is just the first part of what Maria is going to be offering through Crash Course to Cash that will provide ongoing instruction over time to help you sharpen your skills and expand your ability to make money with email, with Facebook ads over time, with various other aspects of copywriting.
Exactly. I had to add a little avatar here because this screenshot right here, no. See, this right here, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. Like, see, this is where technology loses me, because why, out of all the times the frames to get frozen, this thing wants to freeze me when it looks like I don't know what I'm doing here, but we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna have to roll with the avatar for now, because this camera is tripping.
I had paused the TV yesterday. I said to my wife, "Have you ever paused the TV and caught a good frame? You always catch people looking."
I know, right? That's so true. Like this, that's how you catch it. Just like this. I mean, what is going on here? Look at this. Absolutely not.
But seriously, the value is unparalleled. I don't know anything else that's like this. And to your point, it won't be like this after 7 days from now.
No, definitely not. So guys and gals and humans and droids, if you want to go by droids, we're accepting droids too. Okay, we're equal opportunists. Yes, if you're a droid, you're more than welcome to come on as well. But no, on a serious note, if again, visit that landing page. Donnie dropped that link. And so, make sure you check out that landing page if it resonates energetically, if you feel it's aligned with what your goals are professionally, and even personally, because people don't understand, I've said this before, but when you are successful in life, especially with your business, that is actually a form of self-care. So, I mean, think about it, because we all need money, right? Like we got to have the resources to do the things and to live the lifestyle that we aspire to live.
Yes.
And so when you don't have those things, it's extremely stressful.
Yeah.
And I remember I shared this on my Facebook page a while ago, but I was letting people know that when you are poor, or whenever you are basically having to focus on your survival, the challenge with that is you can't focus. You can't focus on anything else. Like you've got to just literally put all of your energy into survival. And so when you're successful in business, you all, that is actually a form of self-care.
Wow. Oh no, Marie is disconnected. So I'm going to pretend that I knew what she was going to say. But I mean, it's a great thing to think about. If any of you have, I mean, I don't know if you struggled like I did, but if you struggle like I did, it's difficult to reach anything beyond survival. I'm just pretending I knew what you were going to say.
Yep. No, you're right.
You have to focus on paying the bills, this month's bills.
Yep.
Putting food on the table this month.
Yep.
Or this day even. And then it's like you don't have the mental capability to go beyond that, because it's all encompassing. Survival has to take first precedence, especially if you got a family.
Yep.
You got your little kids in there, and Daddy, I'm hungry. Nothing else matters. Real talk. Nothing else matters.
There's nothing funny about that. I'm just saying. I remember, in one of the last episones, if you will, you were saying that you do voices and stuff. So it just makes me laugh, because I do that too. I don't know, maybe it's a copywriter thing. I feel like you have a very keen sense of humor.
Yeah, I think so. But for real, so it's self-care. I remember somebody had said something about business owners need to do self-care. It is true. We need to we can't be at the computer all day, every day.
No.
Part of that is, if you have a system that works, if you have the confidence to know, I know how to deliver for clients, I can go and get a client and do what it takes to make money from them, for them. Then you can have peace of mind and confidence, which is also self-care. Then when you begin to build a business that supports the lifestyle you want, that's also self-care. And we quoted Dan Kennedy on the last call. He said it on one of these things. He said, whenever something hurts, I just rub money on it. That's just
Oh, I love that.
Right. Money solves a lot of problems.
It does.
And it's not everything, but it does have the ability to open opportunities and doors for you that you wouldn't have access to otherwise. And there's less stress. Now, maybe there's more stress when you're a billionaire. I don't know. I bet Elon Musk has stress in his life. I bet he does. Part of it is because he goes out there and he's just fully out there doing bold things, whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
But if you're on subsistence living standards, it's hard to be at peace. It's hard to invest in your own well-being. Hard to shut off. Your brain is always racing too, which means you don't rest.
Exactly. Ahmed, I see your question. I'm going to answer that question in just a second. You brought up a great point about so now I don't remember exactly what you said, but it reminded me of a quote that I saw on Alex Hermosi's Instagram or Twitter, one of them, where he said that it doesn't matter, all the affirmations in the world will not solve your financial issues. If at the end of the day, you're standing in the mirror, you're telling yourself, I'm great, I'm wealthy, all of that, that's good. But if your phone is ringing off the hook because you've got bill collectors chasing you down, if you're, like Donnie said, if you have a family and your kids are crying because they don't have the fundamental resources that they need, if you're single and your stomach is growling while you're shouting at yourself in the mirror, these affirmations, right? it's a little difficult to buy into what you're saying
Yeah.
when reality is hitting you. So the best thing you can do for your wellness is to be successful with your business. I
Yeah.
mean, truly.
Yeah.
And people say money doesn't buy happiness. And the thing is, I feel like that is just such a weak statement. Not, I mean, of course, can we go into a grocery store and buy a bottle of happiness? Maybe for some people that is wine. But but in a very literal sense, no, we can't, right? We can't buy that. But statistically speaking, what money does buy you in a very literal sense is even more time on this earth.
Yeah.
People that are high net worth individuals live an average of seven. Think about what you can do in 7 years, Donnie.
That's like a 10% increase on your life.
Oh, I know. They literally live on average 7 years longer than people who are raised in impoverished communities or households.
Wow.
7 years. And I wrote about this for some copy I wrote for a client because I want people to stop trying to pretend like money is not important. It's extremely important.
Yeah.
So we've got to stop trying to make it seem like, oh, it's just, going to get you material things. No, money can literally afford you more life.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
how much money are you willing to spend to live an extra 7 years? That's a long time. So nevertheless, we've got to definitely stop being ashamed and shaming people for getting to this money. But of course, you can do so in an ethical way. And of course, Crash Course to Cash is going to guide you down that process. Now, Ahmed raised an important question. Is there feedback on the course? So Ahmed, this is actually the very first cohort or the first iteration, if you will, of this course. There is feedback about my skills as a facilitator, as a copywriter, etc. And so you can read some of those on the landing page for Crash Course to Cash. I know Donnie, he has the link up now. But for this class in particular, Ahmed, there are not any testimonials or anything because this is brand spanking new.
Yeah.
Which is also why the price point is as low as it is, because my whole goal is to make sure that I affirm, yep, we did that. You guys are good to go. Guys, gals, and droids are good to go. And so, Conrad just added some clarity. That's a good, okay. Ahmed, well, look, I'll answer both.
Yeah, just in case.
So just in case, Ahmed, thank you, Conrad. See, this is why I love diversity of thought, right? Here it is. I interpreted that question a totally different way. And then here Conrad comes with a whole new angle. I didn't even consider this angle, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, Ahmed, if you meant whether or not feedback is provided on your email marketing campaign, absolutely, yes. So that is literally the whole draw of this, is that you're not having to do this alone. We are literally holding your hand and guiding you along that process. So if your question is related to whether or not you actually get feedback on what's produced, then I have to say it's a resounding yes. We absolutely provide feedback. So thank you for that perspective, sharing that other perspective, Conrad, because when I read the question, I thought he was asking, is there any feedback related to the course? But now that makes sense.
Yeah. Well,
I think Conrad is on point.
I think you could interpret it either way. So I mean, either way, it's both questions deserve to be answered.
Absolutely.
I think that's
great question.
Also outstanding, right? Because I've definitely given advice to people, and then they come back and show me what they did, and it's not what I told them to do.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so it's great because you're gonna live instruction over time, but then, hey, here's what I got. Let's look at what we got and make improvements and pivots in real time, so that you can have the confidence in knowing you're going to be able to create what you intend to create, what we know works, and to develop the skills and the knowledge that I can go and do this on my own, for clients or for myself. So it's a great, both points are very important.
Exactly.
Maybe there's no testimonies for this brand new course, but again, what we've told you, Maria has like 24 different brands that she's created 6-figure email campaigns for. It keeps happening, and it's going to keep happening. The question is, are you going to get a piece of the action? Right? Maria can't serve everybody.
No,
I'm not going to serve everybody. I'm trying to retire this year.
Why do I hear Jay-Z in my head and I come back like Jordan and win the 4 or 5?
I'm telling you. But Maria we had this conversation as well.
Yeah.
We're doing less, working with fewer and fewer clients. And we're looking for people to hand work off to. Who do we know knows how to do the work? People who we know how to do the work. And if you come in through Crash Course to Cash, we'll be able to, either one of us will be able to know this is a person who we believe has the skills in place and the resources to do a good job. Versus, this happens a lot. And I appreciate when the grind, when people say, hey, if you're looking to outsource some work, let me know. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I get that. You probably get it every week too.
Yeah.
But I don't know you.
Yep.
I don't know your work. And you're the 50th person in the line.
Yep.
But this is going to be a good way to skip the line, because of all the people who I don't know, now I know you.
Yep.
And I know what you know. And so that's going to be a valuable way of improving your own opportunities just by, in relation to the community that we'll be part of.
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely. So excellent questions, you all. If there are any more, please feel free to drop. Look, why am I up here giving them instructions? This is not even my platform. Let me shut up. I'm sorry, Donnie.
No, it's good, because I feel like this is mutually moderated. I asked you a bunch of questions, but it's not like I'm somehow the boss over here. Like, we're just talking.
True. Facts. That's true. That's right. Because that's why we call it unfiltered.
Yeah.
Because it isn't scripted. We didn't, sit down and say, okay, this is the format. I mean, we literally just come over here. We just come on here and we just talk.
Yeah, I said,
y'all enjoy.
I got a good question for Maria. But if you said, hey, I got a good question for Donnie, then you'd be like, Donnie, guess what? I got you one this time. It's fair game.
That's true. That is true.
So that's not putting pressure on you, because I know you were working all right up until the second we got on here.
Yeah, you already know. Literally trying to get off with Jeanette. Like, okay, well, it's 11 now. I got to get on with Donnie.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. I'm so beat.
Yeah. So, well, you're going to get a week of, hopefully, I know you got other things going on, but hopefully a week of, after this week of promotion, take a few days off and then get back into instruction. I'll go get this, take advantage of the opportunities that are out here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So peeps, y'all need to jump on into Crash Course to Cash so we're getting amped up. April 7th. It's going to be going down. I'm excited.
I'm very excited about it. And I know there's going to be massive income leaps, massive confidence leaps, massive opportunities taken. And then when we look back at 2023, there's going to be a lot of people who say that was the year that this changed for me. I remember my year. I remember mine. And I don't have time to talk about it because I got another call at 1. But but I remember when things changed for me. Actually, like 2 different times. But they stand out in your mind as monumental. Like my life was one way. And then this day happened. And then it was a different way. And I'm thankful for those changes. And I think there's going to be a monumental year for a lot of people. And this course is going to be instrumental in that.
Oh,
instrumental
absolutely.
and monumental.
See, look at you, these big old words. So, yeah.
You know how we do.
I know, right? So, yeah, peeps, as you can see, we also like to have fun. There's no reason to be stiff. I mean, I think the world is serious enough for us. So it's really important to me that we have fun while we're also taking in the information, implementing the necessary steps. But yeah, we're going to have fun. That's important too. We got to lighten it up a little bit because the world is already serious enough. So,
I never saw the research on this, but if y'all read Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss, did you read that?
I've never read that. No.
You read it. But one of the things that he says is when you're when you're laughing, or no, when you're smiling, your brain, you're smarter. Your brain works 30% more efficiently, or something like that, just by the virtue that you're in a laughing kind of mood. Actually, he said there was research done where they had people hold a pen in their mouth without their lips touching, so that it make them smile. Just the muscles moving into a smile position increase brain function. And so laughing, smiling, being happy, those things actually make your brain work better. And so what we're doing, we're actually helping you be smarter.
Right, exactly. I know, for real.
And taking some of the load off, because again, like you said, there's more than enough bad news out there, more than enough sad things out there.
Yeah. So I like to lighten it up. So
yeah, I do too.
Well, look, I know you have a call in less than a minute now. So as always, I want to thank you so much for sharing your platform with me. Y'all, we have one more week. Well, look, maybe one more week week of this. But you do have one more week to sign up for Crash Course of Cash. So Donnie, again, thank you and have a fabulous weekend. You too. And look, as we talked about, there are glitches. If you buy today, if you're going to buy, I mean, you don't have to buy the second. Go read the sales page. If you decide it's time to do it, don't wait until the last minute, because if that glitch happens, Maria has no forgiveness. The deadline is the deadline, and you've been warned. So anyway, she's a nice person, but deadline is the deadline. Yeah, the deadline is the deadline. So we hope to see you inside. But we're gonna, if you make comments on any of these live stream things, we'll come back, and if you didn't get your question answered, ask the question. We'll come help you out. Exactly. I hope, Maria, that you have a great weekend. Everybody who's hanging out with us today, have a great weekend. Yeah, y'all have a great weekend. Be safe. Yes. All right. Peace out. Later.